What, Max? What are you doing, man? You like ruined the format, bro. You're supposed to start off with quant first. Well, guess what? Once you see some of the information we have for you for LCX, then you'll understand why. Well, I don't get it, man. I'm not used to things that are like not normal. Ugh. Well, bear with me. Here we go. So let's go ahead and jump right into this. Check it out. Straight from this particular person, LCX Izzard. Boy, that's an unusual looking thing. He is a no investment advice LCX RBA Citadel Council specialized ultra low cap micro cap researcher, and he's part of the secret society. Ooh. All right. Well, shout out to him. Thank you for the information. He says you need to read this 1,000 hours of research about LCX. It will blow some minds. So with that said, we're going to do 1,000 hours of research. I expect you guys to be here all night long. Shout out to the guy who's on the road from the Bronx, and you're going to go all the way down to the South, or in this case, Kentucky. No, this show is not going to be 1,000 hours. I promise you. All right. It's going to blow some minds, to say the least. So I got more into this. Here we go. Number one, the mother of all LCX threads, mic drop. Somo Fuzz in the house, the hip hop till you don't stop with the mic drop, right? More than 1,000 hours of research and community participation, LCX will be one of the most important crypto companies in a new and regulated environment. That's the key thing that you guys all got to recognize, a new and regulated environment. And by the way, when you get to the XRP news, Crypto Lulu is going to pound that home just a little bit more for everybody. All right. There's no other crypto ecosystem and exchange out there which is comparable. None. All right. When we get further into this, look at this. I'll zoom in. Let's start with a basic intro, right? It says thread about LCX and its unfair advantages. Now, just hear me out. This is not super long. It says you understand why Monty Metzger, CEO of LCX, built the company different and why the 8 licenses are the most important part of building a regulated crypto ecosystem. And this is despite all the focus of all those people saying the whole thing with the SEC. I don't know. I don't know if I want to get into LCX. So you're going to get into LCX when everything blows up and we have regulatory clarity, because again, that might be a little bit too late. But let's face it, that's when FOMO happens. And if you hold the likes of LCX, that could be a good thing. There is this, and it says regulation is the foundation LCX is building on, right? LCX is the most regulated crypto company in the world. By reading this thread, you'll understand why. Well, we're obviously doing just that. MiCA, EU crypto law, and KYC for unhosted wallets. U.S. presidential order to regulate crypto. Slowly, his main investment, for instance, a lot of us, right? I don't know. Some of us, I don't think LCX is your main investment, but it could very well be. Me personally, I'll be a little bit more diversified. It says, slowly, my main investment thesis around LCX comes into play. No other crypto ecosystem is legally better prepared for the coming storm. This LCX thread, like he mentions, is explaining some of the core products as well as their key partnerships of LCX. You see some of these key partnerships, right? And whether you're a fan of the World Economic Forum and so on, they are partnering with them. Let's face it, Mr. Klaus Schwab has officially recognized the Liechtenstein Exchange. Some of those on that list. Shout out to the DGB community, right? DigiByte and so on. I'm glad that they take us so much. They're part of that list. You have, for instance, Polkadot, Layer Zero, right? Quant, obviously, big players, even Chainlink, and of course, Hedera's HBAR. LCX is building the future financial system while connecting the banker world to the Web3 world. It's like a future over ledger for banks. Wow, did you just say that? A future over ledger for banks. Think about that analogy for itself. So they're a future over ledger for banks, and we already know that over ledger from Quant is literally the operating system that helps make 100+ blockchains interoperable. And oh, by the way, they're blockchain agnostic. Then this is a pretty bold statement, to say the least, for LCX, right? Right. Institutional and exchange, right? It's like a future overledger for banks and institutional and exchange. That's impressive. If I didn't even know about LCX, I would want to know more about that. That would impress me. The partnerships with Quant and DAG, and by the way, in the future, we're going to do a deep dive into DAG, says are a big part of this vision. You know, we mentioned some of these things, but look at this. I'm going to state it again. LCX is building the overledger between the old banking system and Web3, everything based on the top of the most sophisticated blockchain law, Liechtenstein, It's a huge web of connections and partnerships you won't even realize after 100 hours of research, if you choose to do that. LCX is the only exchange which has the tokenized euro, or EUR, I should say. It in uncertain times, while in stablecoins like UST, shout out to Brian Dowie, right? UST as in from what? Terra, DAI, depegging is the safe. It's a 1-1 peg and is even more secure to hold it on chain instead at basically your bank account. So if anything, it says, there's problems with stable coins. Obviously, UST in the past, no longer even a stable coin, the unstable stable coin. And now some people feel as though USDT is going to happen with that. I don't know. We'll see. I'm with you guys with, some of these debates, but it states, and why there is already a solution provided by LCX nobody knows about, right? And that is specifically these ones that are quote unquote stable. The EURE, the USDE, and the GBPE. And you, of course, see some of these partnerships. Pretty impressive, right? Here's a summary thread of all the big partnership announcements from specifically LCX. Obviously, like the ones I mentioned before, Quant, Polkadot, right? Some of the ones we mentioned again before. If you ask why LCX is pumping, then there's a reminder about all big partnerships and advisors of LCX. This year, most of them will be utilized, and that is something else to be said. There's one thing to see certain, blockchains and ecosystems, and you're trying to get them to be utilized, right? Hence, why we're all hoping for Luna Classic to do well in the future. Well, not all of us. Some of us don't like Luna Classic, let's face it, but I'm a big fan of it. But my key thing is for 2023, I want to see the ecosystem be built up. But how about to already have, for instance, an ecosystem already built up? Or, for instance, have this particular example of why LCX is pumping and why, for instance, most of this, like I said, the year most of this will be utilized. That is something to be said. Because if this ends up being the year that's all utilized, then yes, I would agree with this statement. And that is basically, it says 2022. Let's face it, it's 2023 now. 2023 will be the year of regulation. LCX is the number one for me. Yeah. LCX is not the number one for me, but if anything, is definitely on my priority list. It's at the top of my list